When a small indoor golf facility first opened, the weekends were strong, but the weekdays were unpredictable. Bays sat empty, staffing was inconsistent, and monthly revenue swung widely. One off bookings weren't enough to support long term growth. Everything changed when the facility launched structured golf leagues. Leagues created guaranteed weekly usage. The same players reserved the same bays, the same nights, turning slow Monday through Thursday evenings into a dependable revenue blocks. Membership increased, food and beverage sales stabilized, and staffing could finally be planned efficiently. League players also became facilities' most valuable customers. They participated between league nights, booked lessons, upgrade similar simulator time, and brought in corporate teams and friends. Customer acquisition costs dropped while lifetime value climbed. Within a year, leagues accounted for the majority of the revenue. What had once been an entertainment venue became a predictable, scalable business. Golf leagues didn't just fill bays, they created consistency, community, and financial foundation, saved the indoor facility, and positioned it for growth. Today, X Golf has 141 locations and packed with league play. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another IGA webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. I know your time's valuable, so we're not going to waste 1 minute. We've got an exciting program for you today, hosting golf leagues and indoor golf facilities, how to create consistent revenue, community, and retention, sponsored by Golf Genius. But I am very excited because we have a panel of experts with us. Today, they're going to share with us, which I'm going to introduce them in 1 second, why indoor golf leagues. We're going to talk about the types of different golf leagues, structure and operations, marketing and promotion, enhancing league experience, and a lot of questions at the end. For some of you who are new and do not know who we are the Indoor Golf Alliance, the association for the indoor golf industry. We're the hub, and ideally, we're here to pull the industry together with education, promotion, information, innovation, and networking, and most importantly, education. So that's why we're here today with one of our monthly webinars. So we've got a great expert panelist group today, gang, and I'm very, very excited because these guys are on the front lines and know exactly what's happening. So first, I'd love to introduce George Hansen with Golf Genius, Vice President of Development, one of our advisors. George, welcome to the webinar. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Phil. Happy to be here.
Exciting to have you here. So the next person we have is Tony. Tony Arrigo is the general manager of Beechwood Golf Club. So he knows the golf course end, but he's also the author of Daytime League Playbook and got a lot of wisdom. Tony, thanks for being here.
Yeah, no, great to be here. Thank you, Phil.
Appreciate that. Then we also have Jace Weary of Golf Play. He owns 2 locations, and he's killing it with leagues. Jace, are you with us?
I am. Happy to be here, Phil.
Glad you came. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Excited to hear about what you have to share with us. So, guys, we're just going to jump right into it. We got a great crowd today, and there's a lot of folks anxious to hear your wisdom. So I guess the first question we have, because there's so many different types of facilities out there, but the big question is, why indoor golf leagues? And I'd like any one of you guys to jump in and tell us your opinion on why golf leagues.
Well, I'll maybe...
Yeah.
I'll just start things off. I mean, I think Jace and Tony have a great perspective on the operator side, but at Golf Genius, we've been in the providing software, tournament software, league software to the golf industry for about 20 years now, and the last couple of years we've seen just an intense growth on the indoor side. So kind of from a full context perspective, I think when you look at a sim operation, it is a high fixed cost business. In other words, you have to commit a lot of money up front, and the key to a high fixed cost business and low variable costs is really utilization. So anything you can do to increase utilization, will cover your costs and get you to break even. And then to the extent you can increase utilization even more, each one of those incremental dollars goes to the bottom line. So how do you increase utilization? We've seen, dozens and dozens of facilities, and Jace is absolutely one of them, who use leagues to build that utilization by establishing sticky return customers who get really engaged with each other. They get engaged with the facility that they're at. They buy more food and beverage. They buy more coaching. They buy more equipment. It becomes a virtuous cycle. So that's where we see leagues as being just a critical element of running an indoor facility.
But Jason, we want to add to what George just said.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the notes are right here in front of us, but I mean, we saw that. Myself, we opened our first location 9 years ago, almost, 8.5. We've been running for 8 years, but I come from a food and beverage background and a green grass facility background too. And my business partner, Steve Harris, when he had the idea for this indoor facility, we wanted to step up the game when it came to indoor golf. What we saw coming into it, it can be done better. And we like to think, and we know that we do it, at an elevated level at this point. But the main thing that you got, the Fridays and Saturdays are going to fill in themselves. That's the same as a restaurant, and the same as the indoor facility. So how do you fill in those off times? And what we found out, we started it, very small. We had 50 people in our first men's league, maybe even less. And we just did it on a Wednesday night because that was, seemed to be the regular men's league day is Wednesdays, in our end of the country anyway. So we continued that on, and the ladies league on Tuesday, and that had probably 20 ladies in it, the first one. But then, if we fill in, we're killing it already with this, but if we fill in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, guaranteed bookings, and what the main thing that we want as golf entertainers is we want 4 people in the bay. We want that, it's the same with the tee sheet, really. You want 4 people in every single tee time. I mean, that's why you get joined up with people. But how can we do that in the league? Because, when you have just that open night, taking a chance on, people are probably going to book the bay and you're going to get your hourly rate, and that's all great. But what's better than that is having 4 people in there, because what are the chances that there's a better chance that they're going to have a beer? We have a full kitchen, so there's a better chance that they're going to do food. We do that well, and then we enter that in as some prizes too, and and fill in every single one of those nights from 4:30 basically till close. People have to book around that now. That's the way we run it. We do the evenings. I know Tony can touch on the daytime stuff, which is great too. But what we found is, let's fill in those nights, let everybody book around that, and we'll deal with the daytime bookings in our own way too. But if we know we got basically 5 o'clock, 4:30 to close, booked off every night, we're going to be laughing and making sure that we obviously put on a good time and making people come back and register again and again and again. And we have found that every year our league has grown. But all those things, there's competitive golfers, there's social golfers, as it says right there on the slide. Some people are coming in to try to win the skins pot that gets huge, and some people are just there to get out there and spend time with, the 100 golfers that are in there around them, playing at the same time, enjoying the same course, which is something, I mean, I'll touch on this too. It's something you don't get with green grass, right? There's the men's and women's leagues are great and everything, but let's be honest, you're out there with the 3 people on the golf course. And some courses do a great job of having a banquet every single night, maybe, getting everybody, and that's the camaraderie. You get to talk about your round. But with indoor, you have this huge facility that you get to see what everybody's doing around you, and you're all enjoying the moment that much more because you're all playing the same course. You can see the leaderboard, and Golf Genius, we're lucky enough to have. We're happy with the partnership that we have with them, using theirs, because everybody can see right where they stand every single shot. So that's great. I mean, I can go on more, but I'll let Tony jump in here. and say a few things.
More categories to talk about, Jace. We love your feedback, and bottom line is you're killing it with leagues, and people are having fun. Tony, you come from a different perspective. You come from the golf course angle. Tell us your thoughts on why indoor golf league versus something else.
Yeah, so we got an 18-hole golf course, small bar and grill that we've grown over the years. But basically, we started with one simulator. We built out a spot on our back deck overlooking the golf course, which was kind of wasn't well received at the time. We were, taking away a little bit of deck space, but since then we built on more space for people outside. But we started with one simulator, and even back then we started couples leagues, weekly leagues, to kind of get us going and fill in the time. And after that first winter, we would jumped right to two. And now, we're here 9, 10 years later, we have three going in what used to be our banquet rooms. We converted over our smaller banquet room into 3 simulator bays, and part of our pro shop now. So we've been kind of building it along as the demand has kept going here locally. And yeah, we've got leagues like Jason was saying, we're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights are booked. Same thing, 4 o'clock on, they're booked with leagues. And then Friday night, we do every other Friday for a couples league right now. Then our daytime leagues, we currently just started our daytime Tuesday league, and we have a Thursday one coming up. So, we're very league heavy when it comes to simulators or green grass out at Beechwood. And it keeps growing. And it's, we're with, even with more and more places popping up around us, we stay pretty consistent, year after year.
Well, and the key, Tony, is you get to be open all year round, right? As a golf course, the outside is closed, and so keep them coming.
Correct. Yeah, that's the idea. Exactly.
Perfect. So there's different types. And so a lot of us are asking, okay, so what's the perfect type for my facility? And I'm anxious to hear what's working, what's not, what are the better ones, are there ones that are generating more revenue? George, start us off again.
Well, I think, as you're trying to build a variety of leagues, you have to recognize there's a big spectrum of golfers. There's new golfers that really just want to be introduced to the game and have fun, all the way to kind of super competitive indoor golfers that want to compete on a gross score, over the course of a season. And so I think having different formats is particularly helpful. So you might have a scramble for the newer players, they don't have handicaps. You don't really have to worry about it that much. You may have an A, B, C, D player. You can have, a gross competition for the competitive players, but then there's a lot of folks in the middle. But average handicaps 14, so that there's formats that allow some form of handicapping to allow competition amongst groups, and that we've also seen that a lot of people like to do, an 8-week league, a 10-week league, where there's, legal on competition, but then you have a skins competition every night to keep things interesting, even to the people that are, maybe in last place in the last couple of weeks, but they're still engaged trying to get those skins. So I think variety is key, and I'll look forward to hearing how Jace and Tony expand on that.
Jace, how do you decide? There's only so much time in a week, and who do you go after, and what types do you like the best?
So I've tried a couple different things. The team thing, I know a lot of green grass facilities do a team, and you kind of get put in. It's still flighted, but you're with a bunch of random guys or girls that you might not even know. So we've tried doing that. It just didn't work out in our case. But that being said, some things that we run with our ladies league are slightly different than what we run with our men's league. The ladies league like to have, as you say, some scramble events mixed in there, because there are some higher handicap ladies that are more beginner, more beginners, and just, if they're in a net, even if they're flighted and in a net competition, sometimes it's like, well, they're not competing. And that goes back to what I said earlier about it's just a night out for them too. So the scrambles work well for the guys. For the men's league, we found, just they like just depending on themselves. Because what happens with those team events, I find, and what we found over the years, is that you find yourself relying on guys that you don't even know that are going to affect your maybe your prizes, your point total all throughout the same season. And they'd rather just, we flight them. There's a gross point total each week, the net gross net score every week. And then George hit the nail on the head with the skins. That's a big thing that drives our leagues as well, is because I just do a gross competition at both of our locations. Across 2 locations, we have over 600 people signed up at both of our leagues. So when you're almost at, it's about 280 at our Waterloo location. And I always say, we've put it in the email, you don't have to be a low handicapper, because when it's a 9-hole event, let's say, or a 9-hole tournament each week, and 2 tie, all tie, and everybody's in there, those skins carry over, and they carry over weeks. And then all of a sudden, week 3, we got a pot that's worth $2,000, and one guy holds out from the fairway, and all of a sudden on a par 4, and he's got enough for a set of new irons or something like that, which usually happens. And that's all cash. That all goes back to the customer too. So George really said that, some guys will say, they're having a bad week. They're not going to win the gross competition. They're not going to win the net competition, but they're like, I'm just playing for skins now, Jace, trying to hole out. So that's a big thing for us. I mean, the gross and net competition, we've flight them in 4, A, B, C, and D. And what I have found, as far as prizing goes, it's best, instead of that big prize at the end of the year, we like giving away a bunch of little prizes each week. So every week you come in, you can win longest putt, you can win closest to the pin, you can win. We've double par nachos. So if you get a double par, you get entered to win double nachos for your group the next week. So little stuff like that coming in, where even if halfway through the season it's like, it's not my year, you can still come in the next week and get it. Because at the end of the year, if it's just a big prize, it seems like the same guys, even though we do flight them, a lot of the same guys end up winning the same prizes, because we get a lot of repeat customers. So we want you to feel like you can win any night, and it's better to spread that love out to all the golfers than just, rewarding the 3 best at the end of the year. And that's what we found.
Adding excitement and return golfers, the magic words, right? So I love
Exactly.
that. Tony, how do you pick? I mean, you only have so much time in the day. How do you pick, and how do you go after?
Yeah, ours kind of, since we started, our public golf course, we have a lot of leagues, but we got a lot of guys and girls there. They're just, they're there for a fun night out. Not many of them are, single digit handicappers on 9 or 18 holes. So we really started, I'd say most, if not all of our leagues that we run are 2-person scrambles, whether it's co-ed, couples, women, men's, they're pretty much 2-person scrambles. And our demographic loves that, right? There's not much pressure. They have some fun. They're mostly there for the beer and the wings and the pizza and stuff like that. But we also make sure they have the skins. We do the skins per league. We help them out with closest to the pins, and we're always giving some type of prize away, right? To back to our place, whether it's a closest to the pin wins a free app card or a free beer. Actually, funny stories last week. Somebody tried to give somebody a sleeve of golf balls, but they said no, we'd rather have the app card. They want the mac and cheese bites we have. They kind of wanted that instead of the golf balls that night. So people love that. We've done, actually, I just thought of something. We've done some other things in your outside of leagues. We have a group in town called Women in Manufacturing. They come out once a year, and they come out, and my brother, he teaches them little skills and like a group lesson, and they want 2 drinks, a charcuterie board, and they're happy for 2, 3 hours to fill up the sim time. Little corporate events like that have also been kind of growing for us as well.
I love that. I love that idea of instructional leagues, because I mean, one of the things that I think indoor is exploding with is introducing golf to new people that have never swung a club before, the folks that are afraid to go out on the golf course and embarrass themselves. Indoor is just magic for that. Instructional leagues gets me really excited, because that helps the growth of the game.
No, exactly. I tell everybody when they come in there, it's like all you gotta do is chase the ball around this little box. You don't have to chase it all over the golf course, right? You just gotta stay in your little box, and you shank one, it's gonna be all right.
And it
Yeah.
gives them confidence. I love that. So, guys,
100%.
it's one thing to build some hype and give out some hot dogs, but it's another thing to keep it organized. It's another thing to make sure it's running smoothly and that you're maximizing the revenue for each bay. So, let's talk a little bit about structure and operations. What are some key things, George, in your mind that helps to maximize that revenue per bay?
Well, I mean, of course, we've got some self-interest here. I mean, we're in the golf software business. We you know, our lead product in golf is a tournament management and league platform. So, you know, we believe that using some kind of platform allows you to be very efficient in terms of the admin side. You know, doing it with spreadsheets is hard. I mean, I think Jace probably tried it and can testify that it was a pain, you know, and if you're trying to ramp up and do as many leagues as they do, having a platform is very important, not just for the admin side, but also for communication. You know, our people can register online, pay online if they want. They can also pay inside. It's not one size fits all. And then the scoring is done in an app, and the live scoring has you know, a feed to TV screens inside the facility. People can access it remotely. You know, all these kind of communication tools help keep people engaged and really are happening in the background where the admin, you know, you don't have to spend much time taking care of all those things. So, you know, we of course are a big believer in using technology to help here.
Yeah, I'll
Absolutely.
just, yeah,
Jace,
I'll let,
jump in there.
yeah, George, I mean, yeah, I know George is with Golf Genius, but I did a previous webinar with them as well and talked about how important Golf Genius has been for our leagues. And just as far as just organizationally, you know, I was trying to do everything myself. We had one location at a time, and you know, we had 250 plus, you know, close to 300 people, then plus the ladies league, you know, which is another close to 100. So I mean, we organizing those and making sure handicaps, you know, handicaps is a tough one. No one's going to like it no matter how you do it. But Golf Genius has provided something that I can just put in front of our golfers' faces and say, hey, this is how it goes. This is the breakdown. This is good. And I'm going to go back to the registration process as well. You know, I know there's a lot of online platforms where you can take payment and everything, but as soon as they register in Golf Genius, they pick what time and day they want to play at, and they're in the tee sheet already for the whole year. So that's easy for me. I have their payment. I know that what day they're playing and what time they're playing through Golf Genius. And that's for, in our fall league, it's 10 weeks. And for our winter league, it's 14 weeks. So organizationally, I don't have to like I can download that and make my own spreadsheet as well. Like, you know, if you're checking off skins and who's playing skins and stuff like that. But that being said, you know, it's just instead of me just trying to do it myself on a number of different spreadsheets, Golf Genius, I would say, you know, helps the process along. And what I've done over the years too is I've made my own, you know, how to run the league kind of thing. You know, we're franchising as well at Golf Play. So, you know, I got to make sure things are organized. But now I've been able to pass it on to 3 different people that run my Waterloo league, my Kitchener league, and the ladies league as well. So they can follow. And don't get me wrong, I still have my hands on it and help where is needed, but they can read that sheet and look over everything that we've done, and it makes it as easy as possible. I'm not saying that running a 600 people in the league is easy by no means. I mean, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into it, and that's why we've grown to the point that we're at, is because of the time and effort that we've put in, and your customers appreciate that. It's like it's a well-oiled machine that, you know, I'm not saying it's perfect, but you know, if you're showing that you care about the people that are paying their money every single week, they're going to keep coming back. And that's why we found that it's grown and grown and grown over the years. And yeah, we'll take credit for that, but Golf Genius has helped. And I mean, it's, as far as an indoor facility goes, I don't think one could, but I mean, not be successful, but as it's for how many simulators we have, we need them. And it's a huge part. It's one of the 4 main factors that drive our business. maybe the
Keep that
biggest.
600 coming back, you need to be organized. You need to have
Yeah.
structure. Tony, how do you handle the organization and structure on your end?
Yeah, so we're a little smaller than Jace does, and that's pretty awesome what they have going on there. And that just hearing him talk about that makes me realize. I'm not saying this just because George is on the call, but saying that makes me realize why we need to get a better system in place for what we have going on there to help grow the place. And we had a call with Golf Genius, green grass and the indoor this week, so it's definitely very interesting stuff. And I suggest everybody check it out because there's a very good chance we're going that way here very soon, just to help like Chase was saying, to put everything together and help grow without, missing different details here and there. I think it's a great idea. We're kind of old school with it right now, but it definitely needs some improvement, on our end from like a, digital back end system that obviously Golf Genius supplies. Phil, real quick, there's a question here or two. I can answer one of them for what we do. Rob Granahan here, he said, for those that do skins, how do you do the payoff? We personally, we do either try to do the same night, but if it is the next week, so it's kind of just what the league wants to do, I think, right, Jace? I don't know what you guys do, but like whatever the
Yeah.
league wants to do, if they figure it out that night, great. If they want us to do it next week, fine as well.
So the way we've ran the skins, yeah, it's the next week. I mean, all we do. So the last night, everybody at each location is in the same league. So our two locations are about 15, 20 minutes apart. But everybody that plays in Kitchener, no matter what day it's on, no matter who plays in Waterloo, no matter what day it's on, they're all in the same league together at that location. So we send out end of the night on Thursday. All the scores are in and everything, Golf Genius. We can see the next morning, and then my guys and girls send out their results on Friday, letting them know that it can be picked up during their round the next week. I mean, it's there for them if they come in that weekend. I mean, hopefully they are coming in that weekend and they can pick it up. But as far as the skins goes, we take cash only. It's not a part of the league. If you want to play that week, you bring $5 cash. We just take all that cash. We don't take any of it for ourselves, and that just gets put in envelopes the next week. Here you go. You get to walk in, pay for at least your beer tab and maybe some more the next week if you want it. So that's the way we handle it, not night of. I mean, there's too many people that are playing on different nights that we wouldn't be able to handle that. We wouldn't be able to do that. So
Yeah, right. You guys, too big for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
George, it
Exactly.
sounds like you want to add to that.
In terms of this, to be honest with you, I think, you're hearing from the guys that deal with it, weekly. So I defer to them, but it makes sense to me to pay it off later, in part to make sure people keep coming back.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great tip right there. Guys, how do you handle handicaps? You got a wide variety, guys are screaming. So tell me, you touched on it earlier, Chase, but how do you handle the handicapping situation? The beginners with no handicap.
For no handicap, well, that one's we try to prompt them to have. I mean, we're in Canada here, so Golf Canada handicap, or we're happy to hear. Touch on George again. George's Golf Genius is pairing up, just partnered up with our simulator company, Golf Zone, which is I mean, I'm not going to lie, as much organization and pumping up and work we put into the leagues, I think Golf Zone's a big reason why we're as big as we are, because it does create a fun experience as far as the leagues go. And as far as just playability goes, as far as playing around a golf, I don't think anything's better, but I mean, obviously biased. But that being said, they're partnering up with Golf Zone, but Golf Zone also they have their own handicap system. So it's as accurate as it gets as far as playing on a Golf Zone system, because it knows exactly how many mulligans you took. Even you can't really cheat the system, right? Because it's all recorded in there. But that being said, we haven't used their handicaps yet, but we take a starting handicap, whatever the start is, and then they basically build a league handicap that updates week to week. So I'm loading it to the handicap server that Golf Genius has provided for us. And then, there are some fluctuations throughout the year for sure, based on score to score and round to round. But that being said, that's why we do, 3 weeks of playoffs at the end for, double the points or sometimes triple the points, because that's when it's as accurate as it gets. I personally, I mean, if someone gave me their USGA handicap or Golf Canada handicap, I'd almost knock 8 shots off of it indoors. I mean, personally, I'm a 2 handicap outside. Inside, I think I'm a On Golf Zone, it says -8, so a +8 handicap. So a 10 shots better, you know, just because hitting off a preferred, a perfect lie every single time, you know exactly the lines on the green. Once you get a hold of the putting in here, you can make some putts just like outside, and it just gets used to. There's so much information provided for you that makes it a lot easier to play inside. But that being said, there's still going to be people say that, well, I'm an 18 outside, how am I a 10 inside? But well, let's just look at your scores here. You shot 2 over, 3 over on a 9-hole score. It's pretty easy. So the handicap server with Golf Genius has been great. I'm excited to see what comes with the Golf Zone handicaps, and if we can get those loaded up into Golf Genius too. That way, everybody's going to be even. It's going to be even more accurate. There's no back and forth on what your outdoor handicap to indoor handicap, because everything's going to be based on Golf Zone. But yeah, we provide a league handicap that changes throughout the year.
Tony, how do you handle handicapping?
Ours is very simple. Like I said before, most of our leagues that we run, if not all of them, I think every one of them, just a 2-person scramble. So honestly, some leagues, like our green grass leagues, will take care of their own handicapping. We just give them the space, the food and the drinks, and they take care of all their own kind of handicapping and scheduling. But for the ones we run, we keep it super simple, 2-person scramble, and honestly, just a week-to-week average. We look back, we keep the scores and everything, and then go back 2-3 weeks, get them their handicap from there, then up or down, what the score happens that week. So nobody does they start learning our rules, and they play bad the first couple weeks, the sandbag, and then come back and start tearing it up the last 6 weeks. So like I said, pretty simple. We keep it super simple with our Beechwood leagues currently, whether it's the night leagues or the daytime leagues.
Perfect. All right. So you got the leagues going, you've got your structure, your operations. Now the big question is, how do you get the word out? How do you find these golfers? What's your marketing strategy? And how do we get them and then keep them coming back? Jace,
I jump
you're on
in.
the
I
front
mean,
lines. Tell us your success.
Yeah, we do a lot of work on marketing. We have a full-time marketing manager, and lots of help. I mean, my business partner, Steve, he spends a lot of time on it as well, getting the word out. But word of mouth is huge. I mean, providing a good product as well, word's going to spread. I mean, we're lucky enough that we have a pretty impressive facility when you walk into it as well. Like, you walk into it and say, holy crap, I want to go back to this place again and again. Why not pay and do it every week? But that being said, I mean, we've seen the numbers grow and grow. It's like, hey, we also make sure that people sign up as foursomes. So those three, let's say the foursomes that have played in years past, that lose a guy, he moves away, or his kid's got hockey on Thursdays, so they can't play Thursdays anymore. Now they're going out to other people and making sure, hey, let's get Jim now, because they don't want to miss out on the league. So I think word of mouth and just providing that great product is very important, but we do pump it up throughout the whole year. We send out emails. We use our Golf Genius emailing as well. So we send early registration to our previous leaguers. So if you played in the winter league, we give you like a week advance notice for the fall league that starts at the start of October. So we'll send out that email at the start of September, or actually into August probably, letting them know that registration is opening early September, and say, hey, get your foursome ready. We're going. So communication is key. We also have built quite the email database over the years. So that is huge for us. I mean, and we're pumping up that same thing, a month in advance at least, letting them know that, registration is coming. Get ready. People know how fast those prime times fill up with the 6:30, the 7 o'clocks, those times fill up. So they're talking to their friends. And if we open up at 12 o'clock, we'll see a bunch of registrations come in right at 12. We got 300 people signing up by that time. So marketing on social media, email, but email is huge for us. Huge.
Communication, staying in front of them, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tony, what do you do over there to get the leagues going and promote and keep them informed?
Yep, like I said, same thing. I could piggyback off what Jay said pretty much, emails, social media, in-house signage for us, obviously, because we got the green grass, all the, tournaments and leagues and regular players, day-to-day players we have coming out there throughout the summer and fall. So yeah, I try to get back out to them. Email list is probably our best thing too, via then Facebook, Instagram, social media. And then it's a lot of honestly right now, I think a Wednesday night and a Thursday night league for us. That's our outdoor leagues. They're just playing an indoor now. So they got 12 of their guys, that from the league and said, hey, do you want to do the indoor session? So they basically are, they're year round, which is, great for us.
Absolutely. George, I want to tackle this question while we're talking about marketing. Someone asked, Jessica asked, what if you're a private country club? How do you handle the marketing and with a members only facility?
Well, I mean, it would be very similar in that members only, you've got a member roster and you would have emails for each of those folks. And it's a matter of, letting them know what the opportunities are to play. And, obviously in a lot of cases on the green grass side, there are websites and apps that those private clubs have that they can promote on the calendar, et cetera, and fulfill the registration, all inside of the private membership roster. I'll add one. This is kind of expanding beyond the private side, but as you heard from Jason Tony, the emails become critical, and so harvesting those emails, getting those emails when people sign up is the most positive step you can take, and that's one advantage of online registration is everybody's used to this in their regular life is we know we've got to set up an email and a password, and we're going to give you our email to register. That's part of the deal, that they know they're going to get marketed to, and in many cases they want to get marketed to because they're interested in what the facility has to offer. So we see that harvesting of emails being critical on the public side, and obviously it's what you have when you're on the private side.
So that's brings up a very important question because what do you charge? What do you charge for leagues generically? And I'd love to hear from Jason Tony versus you're a private club, and I know you guys are not private, but is the pricing different because members are going to expect it included in their monthly fees? So what are your thoughts on that, Jason? Both pricing and then what will your advice be to private clubs?
Well, so the pricing, we basically work it out to being similar to the same bay rate that we would charge at that time during that night. But then what you get with that price is also a chance to win prizes every week. You get a guaranteed tee time every week. You get food and beverage discounts. You get a bunch of different things that you're coming in and doing with as far as, and then plus all the admin work that gets put into this league. Like I said, organizationally, we try to keep it pretty tight. So a lot of hours go into that. So for that fee, and it's discounted slightly. If you break it down by 2 hours per foursome, 9-hole rate, we're giving them slight discount, but we know they're coming in every single week. So that's where we provide that discount. So I would say pricing similar to that, to what you would charge on a regular day at that time, peak rate. But you can provide that discount knowing that you have people that you have 4 people in every single bay drinking beers and eating food. In our situation, I know not everybody has full food and beverage, but we do. And we want them having fun, drinking beers, having pizza, all that good stuff. So that's where we justify the slight discount that we're giving. But as far as pricing, but then also we ask for that, but that's all paid up front. So just like any league that you go to, as far as hockey league, whatever it is, pickleball, if you're paying for a league fee, you're doing it at the start of the year and playing. We give them some opportunity as far as the makeup round goes, but it has to be done during that week from Monday to Thursday during off-peak times that they can come in and play a quick 30-minute round if they're just by themselves. But as far as that goes, like you're expected to be there every single week. We realize it's a commitment, but we got into too much trouble over the years where all of a sudden, if we're taking the nightly fee, let's say it's $25 a night for your league ground, there'd just be, it gets a little wishy-washy and people just don't show up. It's like, oh, I just won't pay my league fee tonight and I'm not going to come in. So that's money on so many ends for us, right? That's the nightly fee that we're missing out on. And now probably, let's say it's a beer and a half or 2 beers that guy or girl's not coming in for. The chance of, they eat probably every second week on average, we're losing a lot of money just up in the air. So go back to George and Golf Genius. I mean, we take that registration fee right at the start. It's been very handy, and it makes sense. And we have had little to no pushback on that. Everybody understands, right? The only people that probably don't understand as well is our servers, because they like to getting tipped on top of that bay fee a little bit. So when that got taken away, but you know what, they do a great job of pushing the food and beverage anyway, and they're going to get tipped out and compensated accordingly. So that's how I price it, similar to the Bay Time, and I would get that registration fee right up front if you're doing like an 8, 10, 14 week league.
Tony, your thoughts on pricing?
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. Up front, no real discount. It's just, we know it would be filled without them, and now we know there's gonna be 4 of them spending some money and everything, but we just basically divide it out. Whether there's 8, we have 8 or 12 person leagues with our 3 bays. We just make it with our going rate at that night, and just basically divide it out between the participants. Prepay in full. We give a decent amount of stuff away, but we also build in, whether it's 10, 20, $30. I give the leagues an option to, if they want a little higher, whatever you want to call it, food and drink at the end, we could build in a little price for them if they just want to throw it in at the beginning and say, if they just want pizza, it's this. If they want, chicken and, potatoes or something like that with our full kitchen, we could do something a little nicer. We add that in. But like I said, we build in a little price usually if the leagues want, but we also are giving away prizes throughout the league for closest to the pins. And again, at the end, I always like to make sure everybody gets at least one drink on us, at the end of season party or whatever you want to call it, they have, so they, no matter what they played or how they played, they're having a good time and they feel like they're getting something from the course itself. So like, all right, that was a great time. They gave us something. It was worth my time and money, even if they didn't win a prize all year,
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Jessica, to answer your question, our club does not have a simulator, but I do know that additional events on the weekends, the men's leagues, the special tournaments, they're charging us extra. But if there's something that's going on a Tuesday afternoon, a 9-hole little thing, sometimes that's included in our membership. But one of the things that, and I know there's some golf courses on here that do not have simulators yet, and they're thinking about it. So I would encourage you to think about, if you haven't got your own simulator yet, to partner with a local indoor operator, whether that's a company that offers memberships and or entertainment. Either way, find the closest one, build it into that membership that you charge, and they're getting discounts when they go over to play in that indoor facility. So
Yeah,
I would say,
Phil, I'll just add, we've actually got a Greengrass customer who has indoor bays, and they run a league that straddles. So they'll play 4 weeks outdoors and then 4 weeks indoors, and that could be accomplished either with a partner or with your own. But it gets you that transition from in continuity of your customers. Also, in terms of the private clubs where if you're not charging for bays, that's fine. Maybe there's no upfront cost for bay rental, but because it's part of their membership fee. But as was mentioned, you have food and beverage, you have pots and celebration, types of things that I think you would charge for upfront, and then the members can take advantage of that throughout the league season.
Yeah, I can jump
We also
into
have just mention one thing. We also have one other question that was in the chat about it goes to Jace. You were already addressing this, and you may kind of flex leagues, or we call them play when you can. Like you just have you can sign up for a league, and just by Friday at 5, you have to have posted around for the week. And that's a good way to start to fill in daytime play, because people, they want to get their round in, but they may not be able to get access during the evening. So I mean
Yeah.
that is a very, very common approach, both indoor and outdoor for that matter.
Yeah.
Jace.
The flex league, I mean, we let them play during the off time, but it's very rare. We still charge them an extra fee. We charge them $10 if they want to come in outside of their regular round, just because now we're missing out on that person. Now they're only a threesome in there. And they signed up for the same time every single week. So, but that's also going from, I have tried to run a flex league, and everything I said at the start, I mean, and I don't want to put down any flex league. If it's working for your business, that's great. But for us, it didn't work because guys would just not show up, not playing their league. They book their time. If it's on them, the way that we've had success is, we try to do it as much for them. It's like, we give you your day, we give you your time. We tell you when to come in. We tell you when you're done, all that stuff. And then it's like, as a man, I can appreciate that because, my wife makes the schedule too. And that makes it a lot easier for me. So for a men's league as well, and for their golf, they can come in and do everything and get it done. So the flex league, it just, to go again, what I said earlier, with everybody playing the same course at the same time with, let's say there's 50 people around you. That's where we've had success. And that's what drives it and creates, we say it all the time with our place, it's a vibe. In here it is. It creates, the music's up. It's not traditional golf. We're golf entertainment. We just want you to have fun. And these leagues we're providing that fun. And with the flex league, it's just, you're kind of doing your own thing, whether it's a single or a twosome. And they even looked around, and I could tell they weren't, when they were playing their rounds, they weren't enjoying themselves as much as I wanted them to enjoy theirs. They might have had fun just playing around with their buddies. Instead, now they're just doing it because they have to, because they paid money and all this stuff. But it's a lot. We've had just so much more success with the running the way things we have. But I do want to go back about the scramble stuff for the private league. Like we all of our tournaments are basically scrambles. Like we run the gross and net individual league because that's what's successful. But we've tried to run individual tournaments, and they have very little success because everybody wants to play a scramble when it comes to a tournament indoors, because you can get your back and forth with your buddy or your partner or whatever it is. Those ones, the scrambles fill in easy, but the individual tournaments don't. So for league play, we've had success on your own ball. Tournaments, we basically run scrambles only once a month. We do it, and that would be my suggestion as far as the private clubs go. But if you have someone, I mean, you want to play assistant pros or associate pros too. I mean, they need jobs in the wintertime too, and you got access to those people to run those leagues at your place, and giving them something to do in the wintertime, and keeping a contract that might be 12 months now instead of 8 months, as someone who was had that lifestyle for a while, 8-month contract as an assistant pro. I would say if they're willing to put in the work and the time and the effort, it's going to be beneficial to your membership and to your company. But probably shouldn't say that as someone who runs an indoor facility with no members, but that's just the way I find it. I can sympathize with those people.
Great stuff, guys. And if anybody's looking for additional marketing and promotion ideas, a couple months ago, we did an hour webinar with tons of other promotional ideas. We could talk for an hour just on that, but we'll address that area. That's very, very important with whatever you're doing, is the marketing and promotion. Let's just wrap it up with the last topic, gang. So you've got a good league going. You've got your bays full. Things are consistent and steady. So then, how do we add on? How do we do add-on selling where we're maximizing not just the bay revenue, but everything else available to generate income? Tony, why don't you start off? What do you do with your people? They're filling in the times. How do you add on selling?
Yeah, ours has always been food and beverage. We got a pretty decent bar restaurant on the other side of our building, basically connected, but just 30 feet away. They get full service at the simulators. So I said it's always been our food and beverage. We got some, some good burgers, wings, all the normal kind of bar food. I call it high-end bar food if there's such a thing. But so we have the good food and the drinks, and that's probably our biggest add-on. A little bit of like merchandise things and gifts we give away, prizes. We keep it as Beechwood centric as we can. Like I said, whether it's a Beechwood appetizer card or a 9-hole pass to play outside, so we're trying to keep them obviously in our little uh, whatever you want to call our little business, I guess, ecosphere there. I say sponsorship opportunities are the big one. There's a big one to do. We have a TV that we do a little bit of that on. That's always something we could do better and should do better, honestly. But that's a big idea too for people to have, in there just, year round, or at least in the wintertime for us.
Makes sense. George, how do you, what do you recommend these folks do to add revenue?
Well, I mean, I do think the, leaderboards are a key, over the bar. If you've got the F&B, people are going to hang around and watch what scores are happening. So we see that as a big advantage. I'd also it's a little bit of it's tangential, but we're also starting to see multi-facility competitions. I mean, for example, Golf Zone does the Golf Zone Tour. There's a TrackMan Tour, where different facilities enter a team and compete against other facilities. I think Jace, you guys have been part of the Golf Zone Tour. That grew from 12 facilities that competed in 2024 to 72 facilities that competed in 2025. And there's qualification rounds. There's actual facility to facility play. So you really ought to look to your simulator software company and see if they offer that, because that's yet another way to offer your customers a way to play and compete and have fun. And really, people get a lot of pride representing their own facility. So there's a lot of energy around that.
For sure.
Golf Zone offered what, $250,000 for the winning team, I heard?
300,000.
300,000 this year. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for bringing it up, guys. Our team lost in the final. So,
oh, well,
no, it's
play
okay.
better.
It's a great experience. It is good, especially because, the network play on Golf Zone is very, very good. You can see their shots while you're playing at the same time. You got to six them playing, and it's really cool. And I hope it continues to grow, because we'll participate every year. I mean, I think that's a lot different than what we're talking about today, because that's more of a bring your best. Our players, I said I'm a -8 handicap on Golf Zone. Those players on our team, I think, are in the minus double digits, or plus, I guess you would say, outdoors, but minus on Golf Zone. They average from the tips on the hardest settings. They average, 8 under par on a regular basis on some of the hardest. So that's a little different. It is cool to see. It's cool to see some great golf being played and all that. But for what we're talking as far as bring back, it might be, it's a tough sell for your average golfer for sure, but it's definitely a fun event. As far as prizes and everything goes, I think I already touched on that. Try to give away a lot of little prizes throughout the week. Food and beverage is big for us too, Tony. Tony said it for him. We have open fire stone oven pizzas at both of our locations, full chef that's, created our menu. So the more we can, it's always a positive when people come in. It's like, when they think about indoor golf, they come in and they say, "Oh, and you guys got great food." And it's like, they wouldn't know that. I think a lot of facilities in the past haven't, focused on food as much as we have. But we definitely, that's part of our prizes as well, is we'll give them if they get closest to the pin for their night, they get a free pizza the next week, which is, a good size for a couple people to share. And then what that does, it gets them to try it if they haven't had it before, and be like, well, I'm going to pay full price for that the next week, and that's the same with the beverage specials that we do too. We give every single beer company that we have a couple weeks, as far as the special goes, knock it down $1.50. on the beer, and that beer sells like crazy because we do just like a golf course. It's a lot of beer and a lot of highballs. So that gets flowing, and that gives us the opportunity. That's just funding for them. It's like, oh yeah, you guys are selling this amount of beer. We can give you this amount of prizes for your leagues, for your tournaments, whatever it is. And some of those prizes are pretty big. It could be
Yeah, Phil, the one thing
leaf
is
tickets
there's
and all that kind of stuff.
there's a growing there's golf play and Tony's business are great with the food and beverage, but there is a growing segment of the indoor market that is 24/7 access with a low food and beverage component. And there's lots of ways to deal with that other than food and beverage. You could the winner could get a certain amount of free bay time. There's obviously the swag that could be. So there's lots of ways to provide that, carrot for people to want to come in and compete. And, that all gets wrapped into effectively the registration fee. So, I think there's a lot of flexibility out there for the non-F&B side as well.
Makes sense. Well, guys, we could probably talk about that for an hour. So we got so much more we'd love to jump into, but we're running out of time. We want to be sensitive to the guys out there. So, George, we've been hearing a lot about Golf Genius on this call. So why don't you just try to sum it up for us and give it to us in a nutshell for those of us who do not use Golf Genius and thinking about it?
Well, I mean, simply put, we offer an end-to-end platform for running competitions, leagues, and events for golf. And that includes registration, payments, flighting, handicapping, allocating people to pairings depending on the format that you're playing. And then we, live scoring where you enter the score in, and all of the handicapping and format is taken care of within our platform, and then those scores are posted on a real-time basis, through a variety of media, including TV screens, et cetera. And you can use the platform to communicate between league rounds. Here's who's playing with who next week. Here's the standings. It's really a full service product, and we're in over 10,000 facilities and tours with this product worldwide, including Greengrass, but we're probably in about 400 facilities with it now on the indoor side. So a lot of traction on the indoor side, and we're really working on making the product fit the indoor space better. And Jason, Tony, you guys will see some things to come over the course of the next year. I think you'll like.
Well, we want to thank you, George, for not only being here and offering your expertise, but also sponsoring this webinar, as well as the Indoor Golf Alliance, because without you guys, we couldn't do what we're doing. So a lot more to come from Golf Genius. I'll be sending you George's contact information, and he'll have yours. So stay tuned for more information on that. Let me wrap up just real quick, gang, with a couple things. First of all, if you're new and you do not know who we are as the Indoor Golf Alliance, we're offering information. You all will be added now to our email list, so you'll see our weekly newsletters with industry updates, what's happening out there in the industry. We do these monthly webinars. They're all recorded, so if you missed one, you can go back and get that. We also have a complete supplier directory on our website. It's a listing of everyone and their websites on who does what, from simulators to software to installers to designers, so even consultants. So we've got all types on there. We offer industry research. We're continually getting new information on what's happening. So if you want to stay tuned, be reading our newsletters and then check out our website once in a while. The other thing I'm very excited about is just the connections that we make. Again, we love connecting folks. If you have questions, if you need advice, we are here to help make that happen. And then we're really proud and real excited about our international trade show. This is the first ever indoor golf trade show and conference, gang. There's never been one before. The first one will be July 7th through the 9th at the Bellagio. We are already half sold out with exhibit booths, and there'll be some information coming on details of our educational sessions. We again have experts from around the world coming to speak, very inspirational, plus just networking. We're having a golf tournament. We'll have some parties and some cocktail hours just for, us to catch up. So more information to come on that. So with that being said, gang, we pretty much answered all the questions. So let me just wrap up. We're right on the hour, and I want to say thank you for joining us. Hopefully it was helpful. We're here to serve you. And the big question, why indoor golf leagues? Number one, they work. Number two, you got to target your market and pick the best type of leagues that work for your facility. Be organized. Make sure you have structure, operations, and a good scoring system. Market. You can have the best league in town, but if you don't get the word out, through emails and social media, they won't show up. And bottom line is add more revenue with merchandise, with food and beverage, and all of that. So, gang, thank you guys on the panel. We appreciate you and your being here. Look forward to talking more. So thanks again. And this is Phil Mordino signing off. Thanks, gang.
Thanks,
Talk more
everyone.
soon.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.